You will either humble yourself or life will humble you. In this video, I'll be going over how humility is the number one key you need to level up with your dating life, your social life, your mindset, your confidence, your fitness, your physique, your spirituality, any domain of self-mastery, any of them, it all begins with humility. Why? Because humility, the way I define it, is allow yourself to be a student. Humility is basically your ability to allow yourself to become a student. You see, if you don't become a student, you will never learn, which means you can't progress in life. Because the only way you can progress in life is through learning and essentially expanding your consciousness, which in turn will expand what you're able to do here in this reality. Thus, everything precedes your ability to essentially be like, you know what, I'm going to become the student. I'm gonna sit down and take notes. Your ability to learn is directly proportional to your sense of identification to your ego. What is your ego? Your ego is your concept of who you are. It's your self-concept. It's this mind-made thing of who you are. A lot of you guys, when I ask you who you are, you're gonna tell me something like, yeah, I'm 25 years old and I go to college and my name is this and I did this when I was younger and I'm gonna do this when I'm older. That's who you are based on your definition, but that's not actually who you are. Why? Because weren't you also 15 years old at some point? Weren't you also a guy who had a different job? The guy who didn't go to college, but you know, when you were in high school, was that the same person? Like, wasn't that you? Didn't you experience that? If I ask you like, hey, do you remember like those moments? You'll be like, yeah. Okay. Was there any part of you missing or were you fully there? You're going to be like, well, I was fully there. Okay. We've just defined that you cannot be your self-concept. You cannot be your ego. Ego is your self-concept, which is not you. That's not you, okay? This is important. Stay with me here. This might have been a bit complex for some of you. Now, why is it important to bring up the concept of your ego when it comes to allowing yourself to be a student? Is your ability to learn is directly tied to how strong your ego is. The stronger the ego, the harder it is to learn. The weaker the ego, the stronger your ability to learn. They relate to each other completely opposites. They're polar opposites essentially, right? So ego and learning relate oppositely. You know, there's probably a better way of me saying this, but you guys get it. Let's say you're my client, I'm teaching you how to become more confident and learn how to speak to women. If you had a really big ego and you're on my Q&A, your ego's so big, let's say it's so fucking big that you're like, yeah, there's no way this guy can help me because like I'm the fucking guy, right? There's no way this guy can help me. If you have that ego and your sense of self is so strong, now you're not gonna ask me a question because you think you know everything. And since your ego got in the way of asking you a question, you didn't even know, but you capped yourself. And essentially, you love yourself so much that you won't actually evolve. Because to become somebody new, you have to let go of who you currently are. And that might be this core concept of this entire video, which is to level up, you must let your ego die. To level up, you must let your ego die. If you want to go from version 1 to version 2, you got to be willing to let go of version 1. But a lot of you aren't willing to do that. And that's why you're stuck where you're at. If you want to level up, you have to be humble enough to realize that you're doing something wrong. And that if you want to get to the next level, you have to change something about you. And to do that, you have to let go of who you currently are. The way I describe this is like, imagine you had a jacket, and the jacket is your favorite jacket, right? And this jacket, you had it for like 20 years, okay? And now it's like ripped, it smells bad, it looks ugly, it's out of fashion, it's like 70s, but now we're in the 2020s or whatever. And everyone's telling you, bro, why don't you just like throw away your jacket? And you just get pissed off. You're like, bro, this is my favorite jacket. Fuck you, man. I want to keep my jacket. That jacket is your ego. And you guys carry around your ego your whole life and you die with it. Not realizing to level up in life, you got to just fucking throw away the jacket, get a new one. And then when you want to do the same thing, you just keep doing it. You just forever do it. You forever do it. You never have an attachment to the jacket. You realize you're not the jacket. You're not your self-concept. I'm not Sergio Chavez, 26-year-old man who does coaching for men on their social confidence and their dating. That's not me. Or you could say that's me, but that's not I. That's not the guy who's watching this. Humility is the number one thing you need to basically level up in life, because you have to allow yourself to become a student. That's how you learn. That's how you evolve. Your ego is your self-concept, which is not you. And you need to understand that for the biggest point here, which is your ego and learning relate oppositely, which is the more attachment you have to your current identity, it's going to be very difficult to have a new identity and basically do new things. And to level up, you must let your ego die, which is the process of being humble. At least in my definition, that's how I would define humility. All of this to say, if you don't have the desired outcome or reality in whatever you're trying to accomplish, whatever it is, fitness, finance, relationships, social confidence, spirituality, money, any of these things, if you don't have what you're looking for, that means your current ego, you need to let go of that. You think you're doing things properly, but you're not, because if you were, you'd have it. So you need to let this thing die, and you need to allow yourself to be a student and learn and evolve. And I'm here to tell you, the most successful people in the world are people who are really good at this. They're really good at just allowing themselves to continuously keep evolving. And the moment someone tells them to do something and it's better, they're doing something better than they are, they just quickly switch and they just allow themselves to evolve, because they don't have any attachment to what they're currently doing or who they currently are. And if you want more help with this and you really want to level up your mindset, your social confidence, and your dating life, link is in my description to apply to work with me personally. If you have any questions, just DM me on Instagram at Serge J. Chavez. We'll talk soon, guys. Have a great day. Peace.